Hey, welcome back to the Disturbing Illusion channel. I'm Brian, your host, and today, obviously, we got to talk about the scripted, highly edited, much anticipated fake counterfeit news network interview with Kamala Harris and Tim Walz. And we have to get started with the "hey, that is our bus out the window" awkward moment.
Madam Vice President, Governor Walz, thank you so much for sitting down with me and bringing the bus. Bus tour is well underway here in Georgia.
Look at him. Look. What? That is the bus we staged outside the window for this staged interview. This is great. Look at him. Look at their happy face.
Bus tour is well underway here in Georgia.
The bus tour is underway. What do you know? I can't even believe it, Smokey. Can you believe it's parked out there? Next, we're going to talk about the last decade of an administration that was warped, pushing an agenda of diminishing American character, dividing our nation, and acting contrary to the spirit of America. But there's a clincher here.
I think, sadly, in the last decade, we have had in the former president someone who has really been pushing an agenda and an environment that is about diminishing the character and the strength of who we are as Americans, really dividing our nation. And I think people are ready to turn the page on that. The American people.
Now, what's interesting, later, like way later, almost at the end of the interview, Dana Bash says, well, you were part of that administration, but let's think about it. The last decade, takes us back to 2014. In 2014, Barack Obama was president and would be for the next 2 years because Donald Trump didn't take over until 2017. And the Harris and Biden administration has been in control for about 4 years. So a total of 6 years, you're talking about Obama and Biden and Harris being in control, and we need to turn the page because, hey, that was dividing our nation. That was contrary to the spirit of America, and it was a warped administration. She is actually including her in that, and Dana Bash brings that to light.
The American people deserve, which is a new way forward, and turn the page on the last decade of what I believe has been contrary to where the spirit of our country really lies.
But the last decade, of course, the last 3.5 years has been part of your administration.
I'm talking about an era that started about a decade ago.
Yeah, that's Obama, Harris. That's Obama that you're talking about. Started about a decade ago. And you guys have been in control for 6 of those 10 years.
Where there is some suggestion, warped, I believe it to be, that
Yeah, I agree.
the measure of the strength of a leader is based on who you beat down, instead of where I believe most Americans are, which is to believe that the true measure of the strength of a leader is based on who you lift up.
So you're not beating somebody down when you call them, as you have, an existential threat to American democracy. You said it. Tim Walz has said it. Democratic pundits and propagandists have said it.
That's what's at stake as much as any other detail that we could discuss in this election.
All right. So now we're going to turn our attention to $25,000 tax credit for home buyers, which isn't the same as giving somebody $25,000 to put down in a house, but that's the way Kamala Harris paints it out. And listen to the excuses on why she hasn't implemented any of her policies since she and Biden are in control of the White House.
My proposal includes what would be a tax credit of $25,000 for first-time home buyers, so they can just have enough to put a down payment on a home, which is part of the American dream and their aspiration, but do
A $25,000 tax credit is not 25,000 liquid dollars that you can put down on a home.
it in a way that allows them to actually get on the path to achieving that goal and that dream.
So you have been vice president for 3.5 years.
Yeah.
The steps that you're talking about now, why haven't you done them already?
Yeah, why haven't you done them already? I mean, you do have the ring of power, right? You're the leader of the free world. You're the commander-in-chief of the armed forces. How come you haven't implemented these policies? What's the excuse, Kamala?
Well, first of all, we had to recover as an economy, and we have done that. I'm very proud of the work that we have done that has brought inflation down to less than 3%. The work
Inflation is down to less than 3%. And this is the lie of government statistics. When you have core CPI, which, by the way, doesn't include food and fuel, because when you include food and fuel in that equation, you get something like this. Check out how high prices actually are. And actually, they're a little higher than this right here. This is kind of an outdated chart, but she's basically saying, no, Bidenomics works. Now listen to what she says about the insulin prices and the insulin cap.
Cap the cost of insulin at $35 a month for seniors.
Well, there's a little detail there she's kind of leaving out. Do you remember when Trump announced the lower out-of-pocket insulin and then Biden came along and he kind of rescinded that? Well, this is kind of what it looks like. And I'll continue playing what she's saying here with the Dana Bash Counterfeit News Network interview. But basically, Joe Biden froze Trump's insulin cap, and then he raised the insulin prices, and then he dropped the prices so that he could take credit for it. Kind of like what they say that Trump did with putting the kibosh on the border wall so that he could take credit for it when he becomes president.
Insulin at $35 a month for seniors. Donald Trump said he was going to do a number of things, including allowing Medicare to negotiate drug prices. Never happened. We did it. Doing that any
You
longer.
maintain Bidenomics is a success.
I maintain
Bidenomics is a success. Listen to what she says.
that when we do the work of bringing down prescription medication for the American people, including capping the cost of the annual cost of prescription medication for seniors at $2,000, when we do what we did in the first year of being in office to extend the child tax credit so that we cut child poverty in America by over 50%, when we do what
Hey, instead of extending the child tax credit, why not just put an end to all income taxes? Why don't just, hey, how about let's put an end to income taxes and property taxes. Don't you have the power to do that? If you suggested that you would do that and that would be part of your policy, can you imagine how immensely popular you would become in America? I don't care if you're Democrat or Republican. If you say, no, here's what we are going to do. This is my plan to do it. No more income tax. Going to totally get the IRS off your back. And you're never, ever going to have to pay property taxes. When you pay off your home, you own your home. No property taxes ever in America again. You'd become the most popular president overnight. But why don't they do that? Because they're controlled by the banksters who don't want them to do that. It's as plain as the nose on your face.
what we have done to invest in the American people and bringing manufacturing back to the United States so that we created over 800,000 new manufacturing jobs.
Governments don't create jobs. Governments can't give you something that they haven't first stolen from someone else.
Bringing business back to America, what we have done to improve the supply chain so we're not relying on foreign...
Improve the supply chain. They completely demolished the supply chain under the Convid 1984 by George Orwell, with James Bullard from the St. Louis Federal Reserve said it's a planned, organized shutdown of the American economy. It was organized. It was a shutdown. Businesses were decimated. And then when there's a recovery period, they take credit for the problem that it looks like they created. It's the Hegelian dialectic, problem, reaction, solution. It's a recipe that has worked for 200 years, and they will not stop using it because it keeps working on the American tax cattle.
Foreign governments to supply American families with their basic needs. I'll say that that's good work. There's more to do, but that's good work.
I don't call this right here, Kamala, I don't call that good work at all. Do you call this right here good work?
You had a lot of Republican speakers at the convention.
Yeah, here's the next lie, that she has no problem hiring a Republican to be a part of her administration.
And will you appoint a Republican to your cabinet?
Yes, I would.
Anyone
Yes,
in
I
mind?
would. No one in particular in mind. We got 68 days to go with this election, so I'm not putting the cart before the horse. But
Here's the Donald Trump question, and she requests going on to the next question.
I want to ask you about your opponent, Donald Trump.
Okay.
I was a little bit surprised. People might be surprised to hear that you have never interacted with him, met him face to face. That's going to change soon. But what I want to ask you about is what he said last month. He suggested that you happened to turn black recently for political purposes, questioning a core part of your identity.
yeah,
Any?
same old tired playbook. Next question, please.
That's it?
Okay, so here's where we get to the Tim Walz question. Tim Walz doesn't answer this question and just brags about his service. Listen to this. Listen to this lie. He cannot come clean and be honest about a lie he has continued to propagate.
Governor Walz, the country is just starting to get to know you. I want to ask you a question about how you've described your service in the National Guard. You said that you carried weapons in war, but you have never deployed actually in a war zone. A campaign official said that you misspoke. Did you?
Well, first of all, I'm incredibly proud. I've done 24 years of wearing the uniform of this country.
Yeah, but that doesn't answer the question, Tim.
Equally proud of my service in a public school classroom.
Also, I want to show you CNN billed this. I'll get back to this in a second, but CNN billed this as a live event. As a matter of fact, in the Lower Chiron, they were putting live when it was playing on TV. I don't think that it was live because before they even say the words, whether it's Tim Walz or Dana Bash, I can understand Dana Bash because they can have something pre-planned and they know what her script is. But before Kamala Harris or Tim Walz even speak, sometimes the guy who's in control of putting the words on the Lower Chiron does it before they even say what the Chiron says.
Whether it's Congress or
So watch them do this right here. Watch this. It says Tim Walz addresses controversies.
well, first of all, I'm incredibly proud. I've done 24 years of wearing the uniform of this country. Equally proud of my service in a public school classroom.
Within seconds, incredibly proud of military service. So they had to have had former advanced knowledge of what he was going to say. Or it's not live, but they said it was. So how did they do that? Sometimes they'll even put the words up before they say anything. That's an impossibility unless they're mind readers.
Whether it's Congress or the governor, my record speaks for itself. But I think people are coming to get to know me. I speak like they do. I speak candidly. I wear my emotions on my sleeves, and
Still hasn't answered the question.
I speak especially passionately about our children being shot in schools.
Yeah, but you lied. Yeah, but you okay. Yeah, well, whatever. But you lied about carrying a weapon in combat. You lied about that. And by the way, if you want some further detail on this, I've got a video that you can see on the screen right there. Click on that video and you can see all the detail about military vets actually being outraged about him suggesting that he was in combat and had a weapon on the battlefield.
Around guns. So I think people know me. They know who I am. They know where my heart is. And again, my record has been out there for over 40 years to speak for itself.
But you still didn't answer the question.
And the idea that you said that you were in war.
Yeah.
Did you misspeak as the campaign has said?
Yeah, I said we were talking about, in this case, this was after a school shooting, the ideas of carrying these weapons of war. And
That's completely irrelevant. Did you say it? Was it true? Did you lie to the American people? And if you did, how can we trust you?
my wife, the English teacher, told me my grammar is not always correct. But again, if it's not this, it's an attack on my children for showing love for me, or it's an attack on my dog. I'm not going to do that. And the one thing I'll never do is I'll never demean another member's service in any way. I never have. And I never.
What a masterful professional evasion by somebody who's a professional political parasite and liar.
I just one other question, because
This is the question of the IVF. Why did you say you used this IVF when that's not really what happened?
again, this is all new.
Yeah.
I mean, this was not, however many days ago, this was not on either of your bingo cards, especially.
Yeah, this is the IVF and the DUI and campaign dishonesty.
yours. You had to clarify that you had said that you and your wife used IVF, but it turned out you used a different kind of fertility in order to have children.
So you lied again. You lied about weapons on the battlefield that you saw combat, and you even lied about IVF. Why would you even lie about that?
And then when you ran for Congress in 2006, your campaign repeatedly made false statements about a 1995 arrest for drunk and reckless driving. What do you say to voters who aren't sure whether they can take you at your word?
Well, I've been very public. I think they can see my students come out, former folks I've served with, and they vouch for me. I certainly own my mistakes when I make them. The one thing I'll tell you is
You absolutely do not own your mistakes. And he's calling a lie, an outright lie, propagating incessant outright lies to the public that you want to trust you is not being a genuine person.
I wished in this country wouldn't have to do this. I spoke about our infertility issues because it's hell, and families know this. And I spoke about the treatments that were available to us that had those beautiful children.
Yeah, but you lied about it. Yeah, but it's hell. Yeah, but you lied about it. You got to understand how we were stuck between a rock and a hard. It was hell, but you lied, and you're not coming clean with your lie. Tell us, just say, I lied. I lied. Now, why did you lie? And if Dana Bash was a good interviewer, she would continue to press it because that's what the American people want. I know I want that. I'm like, no, put the screws to him. He lied. He made his bed. He's got to sleep in it. But that's not what CNN's all about. CNN is all about promoting an agenda, a democratic agenda.
Children there. That's quite a contrast in folks that are trying to take those rights away from us. And so I think people know who I am. They know that record. They've seen that. I've taught thousands of students. I've been out there. And
even your closest, people that are in your zone of influence don't really know who you are when the doors close, Tim. They really don't know who you are. The millions of people who've been exposed to your face and have listened to your rhetoric as you stand behind a lectern, they don't really know who you are. Even these people you say vouch for you, they don't even know who you are.
I won't apologize for speaking passionately, whether it's guns in schools or protecting of reproductive rights. The contrast could not be clearer.
But the question wasn't about you speaking passionately. The question was about you lying, and then your campaign lying about the DUI, covering it up, but you lying about having a weapon on the battlefield and seeing combat. This isn't about anything else but those things, and you're completely dodging the question.
Between what we're running against, the vice president's position on this has been clear. And I think most Americans get it if you've been through that. I don't think they're cutting hairs on IVF or IUI. I think what they're cutting hairs on is an abortion ban and the ability to be able to deny families the chance to have a beautiful child.
Okay, so Tim lied. He was called on the lie, and then he didn't answer for his lie. He just came up with excuse after excuse. And that's what you can expect with the Kamala Harris and Tim Walz campaign. But we're not done yet, because right here, Dana Bash actually asks a good question but doesn't press forward with it. Watch Kamala Harris lie about Biden's mental fitness and that she has no regrets about lying to the American people about Biden's mental fitness or lack thereof.
Vice President Harris, you were a very staunch defender of President Biden's capacity to serve another 4 years. Right after the debate, you insisted that President Biden is extraordinarily strong. Given where we are now, do you have any regrets about what you told the American people?
No, not at all.
Look, the Chiron came up. Harris doesn't regret defending Biden's fitness for a second term. Watch when the Chiron comes up. It's before she even answers.
Extraordinarily strong. Given where we are now, do you have any regrets?
There it is right there. How do you know Harris doesn't regret defending Biden's fitness for a second term? Person who put the Chiron, the lettering in the Chiron, before Kamala Harris even says anything. And this is a live event. Give me a frickin' break, CNN. You frickin' liars. So Kamala, do you regret lying to the American people, telling them that no, Biden is mentally fit and he is physically strong for another 4 years? Do you regret that, Kamala? Nope.
About what you told the American people?
No, not at all.
No, not at all. I'm an unrepentant liar because I'm a psychopath. And that's what psychopaths do. They don't give a damn that they lied. They don't give a damn if they got caught. They just want to continue grabbing the ring of power.
Not at all. I have served with President Biden for almost 4 years now, and I'll tell you, it's one of the greatest honors of my career. True.
That's irrelevant. All these irrelevant responses to pointed questions. I didn't ask you how honored you were to serve with the guy. We asked you, do you regret telling people that he was mentally fit when clearly he is not? Answer the frickin' question. You're driving me crazy.
Truly. He cares so deeply about the American people. He is so smart and loyal to the American people. And I have spent hours upon hours with him, be it in the Oval Office or the Situation Room. He has the intelligence, the commitment, and the judgment and disposition that I think the American people rightly deserve in their president. By contrast, the former president has none of that. And so, one...
Wait a second. I thought we were all about building people up and not tearing people down. You just went back on your word in this interview. How can we expect anything other than you going back on your word when you grab the ring of power and sit behind that desk in the Oval Office? You moron.
I am so proud to have served as vice president to Joe Biden. And two, I am so proud to be running with Tim Walz for president of the United States.
I bet.
And to bring America what I believe.
I'm not even going to continue with this. So basically, Tim Walz lied, got caught, did not repent. Kamala Harris has lied multiple times as well, got caught, was questioned on it, and did not repent. That's what you can expect from a Biden, or sorry, not Biden, Kamala Harris, Tim Walz presidency. Leave your thoughts about this for the world and the global thought police in the comments section below. If you haven't done so already, subscribe to this channel, hit the bell notification icon, give it a thumbs up, share it with everybody you know. Don't forget to subscribe to my email list through my website, highimpactflix.com. If you want to support the channel further, grab a hard-hitting conversation starting design. You can put on a shirt, hoodie, mug, cell phone case, hat, pillowcase, whatever you want. But more importantly, understand that in time of universal deceit, telling the truth is a revolutionary act. Let's begin the revolution. I'll see you in the next video.